So welcome to your Monday, November 11th Power Hour meeting with Katelyn, Carly, and Clare Fulton. We'll take a moment to recognize Remembrance Day as well. We're wearing our poppies. Some of the banks are actually off today. It's a banking holiday today, I think. So I don't think any closings or deposits. But the rest of the real estate world is working.
So we always get that question every year: is Easter Monday and Remembrance Day, is it a business day or not a business day? We always get that question.
Depends who you're asking. If you're Claire's, yes.
It's
Every day is a business
day, but it's not
So
a banking.
so if you have an offer that's conditional upon 4 banking days, or 4 business days, is today a business day?
Whatever Trump wants me to do.
Right. It's curious, eh? I would say no, because the banks aren't open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you're stuck in you're 1 day late, then I would just say, hey, today's not a banking day if it suits you.
Yep.
Right? Same as good like Monday too, Easter Monday. Same thing. People confused about that too, because it's still a business day. But anyways,
It's true. So how's the past week been? It's been a whole week since we saw you. How was the week?
Let's go, Trump.
let's just check everybody's memories. Today's November the 11th. Last time we did this was November the 7th. What has happened since November the 7th?
Election.
Number 1, the election. Trump.
Yeah.
Was that a surprise? Was that a surprise? Wasn't it a surprise? No? Okay. I was surprised.
You had surprise?
I was surprised, yeah. I was surprised, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how does convicted convict get voted president?
Twice.
Yeah.
It's America.
It's America. Okay, that's
Possible now.
the answer, right? So you know what's interesting, eh? So Trump gets voted in, and what happens? The stock market goes up almost 3% in the States.
Yeah. Tesla stock went up, a bunch of stocks.
Tesla stock in particular went up quite a bit, right? So that was the weird thing. What else happened last week?
Rates went up in the U.S.
Correct. And Canada. Forget about U.S. I don't care about them. Eh? Rates went down 0.5 point, huh?
So what about fixed also went down?
Rates went up.
Mm-hmm.
I thought fixed went up.
Yeah, fixed went up.
Fixed rates went up.
Yeah.
But the prime went down, what, 5.45 or whatever it is. That's the prime rate right now. So that was a good thing. So interest rates went down. So interest rates go down. The stock market's doing great. The real estate market last month was up over 40%. Does everybody believe that one?
Oh yeah, the media loves it too. All due to
Because of
rates.
it's funny. I talked to agents there, and agents are looking at, like, they're telling me it's slow. Everybody's telling me how slow it is there, and I said, well, the sales went up 40%. He says, not in my backyard. Right? Does anybody feel that? Does anybody feel like 40%? Does that feel like a huge
40%.
surge?
40% compared to
Well, last year was 4,600. This year is 6,500. It's 44%, right?
but last year's number was probably some of the worst numbers.
It was the second worst month in the entire year. Yeah.
It goes up 40%.
Yeah.
But
So-
up is up.
Yeah,
Still
60
more people buying this year than last year.
To me, it's the best news ever. I can't believe how, holy smokes, the market's outstanding.
Don't compare it to the worst one.
So if you take 6,500, who's got a calculator? 6,500 times 12 is how much?
No one's bringing out their calculators.
78,000. So the worst year we had was 65,000, and now we're going to do 78,000 this year. If it averages at 6,500, that's encouraging. That tells me the market's picking up, right? Unfortunately, what I see though is that before you get into it, what I see is a lot of sellers are resisting to reduce their price. So that tells me that they're not highly motivated. They don't have to move. If they get their price, they get their price. If they don't get their price, they don't get their price. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, they're
And
selling
then
before
they're
they
also
buy.
telling me here how buyers, for whatever reason, buyers want to wait for the rates to come down, so they think it's going to be cheaper. Has anybody heard that one? Mm-hmm. And they're talking about going down to 0.5 point in December. And then the sellers say, what are they saying? They want to wait for the rates to go down because there's going to be more buyers who are going to pay more money. So those are the two things I'm hearing anyways,
Yeah.
conflicts.
No, it's true.
Anyways, carry on.
No, you care. We're talking about stats, so right in line.
Okay, so let's just go right to the stats, and then you guys can do your thing.
Sure.
So right now we've got 24,000 active listings. We've sit around 24,000 active listings for the last month. So even though do you have how many new listings were in October? Percentage.
Went up 25%.
So new listings are up 25%, but we're still at 24,000. So now there's another phenomenon going on right now, and that's canceling listings because the sellers aren't getting what they want. So they cancel a listing to get out of the market, wait until the spring. Has anybody had that one yet? Do you guys see that one?
Yep.
So how is it that we've got new inventory is up 24%, sales are up 44%? I guess that got rid of a lot of inventory, but we're still sitting around 24,000, but that's okay. 24,000 active listings, 13,000 are freehold, 10 almost 11,000 are condos. Owner-occupied condominiums, 37% of all condos are owner-occupied, 56% of all freeholds are owner-occupied. I just did a quick little thing here on condos only. It's like I've been reading all kinds of stuff about condos being slow. Mm-hmm. Is anybody seeing the same thing? Like I know new builds for sure. New builds are getting clobbered right now, right? But what about on the resale market? Are we seeing that the condos are slowing down?
There's a lot of
I've
inventory.
heard
yeah.
rentals not as slow, but sales slow.
Sales? Yeah.
I've heard rentals are picking up.
So if you read the newspapers, people they're trying to sell papers, right? That's their job. And they would suggest to you that a lot of investors have bought pre-construction, and now that's the product that's coming to the market because they bought all this small stuff. They're talking micro size micro condos and that. Mm-hmm. So just a quick little test here. I wanted to find out what the sales were. So if you go to November sales, just to pop that down that for a second. Right now we've got 1,800. Last year we had 1,500. So sales for the first 10 days of November were up 17% from November last year. Condominiums are actually up 10% and freeholds are up 21%. If I take that same number and compare it to the first 10 days in October, which is more relative, October versus November, our sales are actually down 16% from October, down 22% overall, down 25% for freeholds. So November is going to come in more like September than October. Are okay with that? And so now we're getting less than the 6,500 sales.
Your positive outlook will go away.
We're getting less than 5,000 again. So if I look at the condominiums only, active condominiums, less than 400 square feet, they represent 403. They represent 4% of the total condominiums for sale right now. The newspapers will have you believe that it's a higher number, but it's not. 4% of the listings, and they actually represent 3% of the sales so far of the first 10 days. 500 to 599 square feet represents 11%. 600 to 699 square feet represents 14%. And 800 to 900, 9%, and it goes down from there. And the sales themselves, the only anomaly I see here is that the condominiums between 800 and 900 square feet, even though there's 9% of the inventory, represents 11% of the sales. So it's actually a little bit higher. So that's scored a little bit higher than the lower ones. So just to recap, properties less than 400 square feet are only, they're selling about, actually less than 600 square foot are selling about 3% less than inventory. So actually there's less of them selling than there is inventory. So even though there's lots of product coming to market, they're not selling. So if you got a condo in that area that's not selling, either your neighbors. So if that makes you feel good, that's fine. Properties that sold for over 100 and over asking, 16% of condos, 21% overall, 24% of freeholds. And on the lease side, we've got inventory of about 16,500, 9,000 are condos, 7,000 are freehold. Sales themselves for leases are actually up 9% overall, up 14% for condos, up 1% for freehold. So even though the condo market is off a little bit there, the numbers are still in line, I think. So.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the market's okay. It's not. We're starting to get. Anybody feel we're starting to get into the? I hate to say it, into the the winter market, Christmas market.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, I think we felt it last week even.
I don't know, Nelson. What do you think?
like we saw an uptick in like questions, and even our own buyers started to ask us things, but still are not like just flying out in the car, like going to see everything, making offers yet.
So here's all the good news. So I'm saying that the sales are up 44%. That's positive.
Yep.
Trump, I guess it's positive because the stock market likes it. Interest rates are down 0.5 point. They're talking about going down another 0.5 point. So that's all positive. Things are all way positive. And then I read this here the other day, a company called ComFree. Remember ComFree? Yeah. ComFree was, I don't know what it was before, but remember they got sold out to that other company called what?
Purple Bricks.
Purple Bricks, and then they went out of business. Well, now ComFree, the original owner of ComFree, took the name back, and now he's coming back. So that tells me that the market is picking up when you get the failed sale by owners coming back to the market.
Okay.
They just came right back. That's so strange.
You follow
We're
me
here
there?
again.
You follow me there? Like we
We're ready.
We went away during the tough market, or actually during the good market. Now we're going to come back.
All right.
So there we go.
They didn't move along. Nice.
Are they coming back as conference?
Yeah.
It's ComFree.
Yeah, don't need a rebrand, no big announcement. Just here we are again.
That's funny.
That's good. So just a little bit of a summary of the things that we're going to talk about today as well. But as you know, GTA home sales surged. This is what the media likes to say. Surged by 44% in October, with detached homes up 46%, semi-detached 44%. Townhouses and condos also for the first time in a couple months. Townhouses were up 56% and condos were up 33.4%. Again, we know it's compared to a month that was unusually low, and honestly, the entire year is quite low as well. Historically, I think we're comparing now total sales to about 2001 levels. The Toronto Real Estate Board attributes the surge in activity due to lower interest rates following the 4 Bank of Canada rates. I don't know if that's true or not, or if people were just budgeting and sort of ready to get back out there, because I think, like we said, it's only a surge compared to last year this same time, right? Average home selling price went up 1.1% year over year. So it's about 1.135 now. And each of the categories, detached, semi-townhouses, except for condos, were down 1%, but all 3 other categories are freehold, where actually prices were up at least over 1%. New listings in GTA rose by 4.3 year over year, and so indicating a moderate market activity. Other things that we'll jump into today as well, and I'll just sort of summarize, but we are predicting about 1 million Canadian homeowners who are going to renew their mortgage between now and Q1 next year. Those people are going to face rate hikes, and it could be detrimental to them and more listings on the Toronto real estate market. So we'll talk more about that as well. But about 85% of the 1.2 million mortgages up for renewal will face higher rates, anywhere from 1% to 2% higher than their original terms. Increased interest rates have been causing a rise in mortgage delinquencies, which are still below pre-pandemic. So we'll talk a little bit about that now, but you're going to see the media talking about delinquency rates and how they are higher, but to be honest, they are still lower than what they were in 2019. So just keep that in mind when the media is talking about that. And private lenders are still experiencing a surge in defaults and foreclosures, with their delinquency rate a little bit higher as well. Also, this is a little bit interesting. I won't talk about this too much after this, but construction workers are facing a really high injury rate, and that's because there's a demand for trades and lower experienced people are coming into the market. So that's not a good thing if we're trying to build more housing starts and we're not finding the people that we need to build these. They're also predicting, I think, let me make sure the stat, about 1/5 of construction workers are within 10 years of retirement age. So that's a lot of people who are going to retire in the next 10 years, and they don't have the younger generation stepping in. So that's going to be a concern when we start building that supply. It's going to be an issue for sure. So that was a bit of a summary, and we've got tons of headlines that match that. Claire, if you found something that kind of matched that, you can go for it, and if not, you can do whatever.
For the mortgage?
Yeah, let's talk about that mortgage rate.
Okay, so they're saying here that 2025, there's going to be 1 million renewals, right? Mm-hmm. So what's that mean to you guys? So you guys have to contact your database, contact your clients. You might have to have some conversation. You might have to say, hey, I know a good mortgage broker here that might be able to get you a better rate if your mortgage comes due. I know somebody like this. You give me a call. You have to talk to your clients about these things. And this is the purpose of all these meetings that we have right now. We want you to sort of pick up little nuggets that you can and put it into an Instagram or put it into a Facebook or put it into some type of communication with your clients. That's why we're talking about these things, right? So if you've got clients, who's got clients here that bought, I don't know, 5 years ago, 2021. 2021 was before the boom, right? So 2025 for you. So 2021, what about the guys that bought in 2022? Those are that's going to be big problems too.
Yep.
So you have to have communication with your clients and make sure that hey, I'm here to help you, right?
Yeah, don't ghost lenders. We've talked about this, I think, almost every single meeting. Make sure you're advising your clients to talk to their lenders. I've seen it a couple now times. We've had listings and the client doesn't tell us till like 7 months after not making payments. So now we're in this rush to get the house on the market. The banks technically can take possession even though prior to taking full title. So even prior to going full power sale, they can change the locks and gain possession of the property. And I've seen it happen now where we had the listing and now the lender also takes the listing at the exact same time in anticipation of it becoming power of sales. Even though they don't have title, they do have court order to change the locks and take possession. And the two that I've seen in our own brokerage, they both sold to the lender before they did with our agent's listing because they sold it cheaper, they offloaded it really quickly. They had a different conversation with the client than our agent would have with the client where we're maybe a little bit more soft and not explaining the full truth, but they can take possession and they can change the locks and they may sell it before you get the chance to. So be careful if you're investing in staging and all that stuff as well because the bank might sell it before you do. And honestly, it's critical. I don't know how much we can say, but your clients have to talk to the lender. They can't just assume that the lender's okay with it. And I've also seen this like ego thing where people think it's not going to happen to them. Like I'm too good for this. The banks are not going to come for me. I'm special. They will come. They don't care. You have to communicate, and they will come and take over the properties. So be very careful. But yeah, to Claire's point, about 80% of these million renewals are going to come up next year. So.
All right, so here's where it comes with experience. That's what you're going to talk about there. So
What happens if the banks change locks on the door and the guys leaves at the house?
okay, so the question for those at home there, what if the guy lives in the house and then the banks have changed the locks, right?
Aaron, do you want to answer that question? Aaron had a property that was staged and the bank came over and how did you get your staging back?
The sheriff took me in. She was super nice.
So Aaron got a hold of the sheriff and the sheriff let her in to grab her staging.
What about the client though? They were out?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no.
Okay. They left. Okay.
Okay, so here's things you got to be careful with. Okay, so first of all, you've got to do mortgage verifications more now than ever before. We put them in those packages for years. And
we should move it up.
a lot of people have ignored them and didn't know what they are. Anybody ever here knows what a mortgage verification is?
Yeah, but client doesn't provide us the information to the
So the question is, what if your client doesn't provide to you? I don't know why they wouldn't, but if they don't, then you're going to take that form, you're going to cross the page saying declined.
how about any source that we can pull it up?
I'm sorry?
Any source that you can pull up the mortgage information?
Is there a source?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. So here's what I was going to say, just to go into here. So here's what we did in the past, and I don't see why it's not changed. You've got a client that's in trouble. You yourself do not talk to the client. Sorry, take that back. You can talk to the client, but you know what? The client's embarrassed. Client doesn't want to tell you their full story. They don't want to tell you what's going on. So you got to phone the lender yourself. You got to phone the lawyer yourself. And we had one recently where we gave that information. We assumed that they were talking with the lender, and they never had a single conversation. All the conversations were with the owner. The agent never talked to the lender or the lawyer. And when what happened? They lost the property. The property went to it turned out the person hasn't been making payments for 9 months.
Thanks.
So they didn't tell us the truth at all. So that's why you got to talk to them, and you got to be able to negotiate with them. A lot of these guys are private lenders now too, and private lenders, imagine that's their own personal money they put out there, so they don't want to give up anything there. So they're hard to deal with. So how you find out? You can go to parcel registry. It's $35. You can check and find out what mortgages are on title. What they do is they'll tell you what the original mortgages were. They don't tell you what the balance is. They're going to tell you what the original mortgage is, which is another problem. Okay, you go to your client with the mortgage verification. They tell you, "Oh yeah, I owe $500,000 on the property. It's okay, I got it covered." No. A lot of clients can go online and get their details of their mortgage, how much they paid, what the outstanding balance is, but it doesn't address the discharge penalty.
Does it show the second mortgage as well?
On the parcel registry, will show anything that's registered, yes. But my point here is that you got to be careful with what they're talking about as far as the information goes. So you got to make sure it's correct, and you have to be involved. Now, if you're a buying agent, just if you're a buying agent and you've got 2 listings on MLS, one is from the owner, one's from the power sale people. Which one are you gonna put an offer in with, as a buying agent? Every time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't know what's outstanding, right? The other thing you're going to do, in your case, if the client refuses to give you information on the mortgages, then you're going to make sure that your deposit covers your commission and the HST.
To about 6%.
right? And as long as we hold the deposit, including the HST, then they can fight over the first, second, third mortgages and liens, whatever else, because we're still in control. We still have the money in trust. Right? So,
Yeah.
so there are things we can do, and there are things that help people. We've negotiated. We've negotiated terms. We've negotiated reducing the rate. So there's all kinds of things as a realtor that you can do if the client cooperates. Right? But as we know, some clients aren't going to tell you the truth. So.
We were talking about this last week, and I was saying, okay, so a third of these people are going to lose out on their mortgages, but where are they going to go? Are these people going to rent, or are these people's secondary, third properties, and they're just going to
For
offload
rental,
them,
yeah.
and they're not as detrimental as I think? That I'm not sure.
There's a lot of second homes purchased in those years.
Yeah, right. So hopefully it is those people, and not these people's primary residence or only house, and now they're going to be offloading it to rent, right? So
It's a grim situation, but
yeah, but maybe not. Yeah. Okay. The other mortgage that's on the rise a little bit is halal mortgage solutions. It's not a new thing, halal, right? It's not a new thing, but it is becoming more relevant now. Someone want to explain what a halal mortgage is? Or
It's all gimmick, you know.
it's a gimmick still?
Oh.
They still charge interest, but they don't tell you.
No, I know. So the point is that they calculate the interest that you would have paid over the term, and you actually pay all the interest up front. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that.
no, there's different ways.
Okay, the one I'm talking about is this way, where you're paying the fee all up at once. So it's not called interest; it's a fee instead.
It's a fee, and then what some guys will do, I'm not sure what these guys, they'll take title. They'll take title in trust for the buyer, and the buyer will pay rent. Once the rent's paid off, then they get the property back. But it's bought in trust. And this is where they got in trouble. Some guy bought it in trust, and then he did a fast when he stole the properties.
Okay. Well, the government is trying to make it so that many financial institutions can offer this product to other people, so that it comes from an organized type bank, and maybe it's not a situation like that. So I know the government is trying to do that, and it's not just for Muslim Canadians. Anyone can actually participate in a halal mortgage. So if you're somebody that wants to pay all your interest at once, and you know exactly what you're paying for, and they're not taking title, it's not that situation. But it is becoming more relevant. More people are taking advantage of that stuff right now.
Are we going to go left, right?
Yep, just keep going.
Okay, so you guys know about Ottawa's anti-flipping tax, right? Everybody understands that? I just want to make sure you're aware of it. Anybody who buys a property in Canada and sells it within a year, any profit they make is subject to full tax. It's not tax exempt, even if it's your principal property.
It's based on your income.
No. No. So any profit that's made will be added to your income, and you pay income taxes just like it's a salary.
Yeah, based on income.
Right? But it's not capital gains, and it's not even if you lived in the house, it's your only house you own, and you buy it and sell it within a year, you have to pay taxes on it. It will not be tax exempt.
13%
13%.
of the difference of what.
No, sorry, no, income tax.
Like
Income
40.
tax. Income tax.
Income tax, what are you talking about? Okay, so it's your income.
Income.
1%.
Which also include, well, it depends 50% hopefully. Anyways, and anybody that bought pre-construction and closes within a year also has to pay tax on that.
Income tax.
Income tax. Even a first-time buyer bought a pre-construction for themselves and they decided to sell it within a year, they have to pay full tax if they made a profit. Now, the good news or bad news depends on how I look at it. Nobody's making a profit today.
They're losing money anyway. Fair.
Everybody's losing money. So based on that, you think, hey, that's great. I lost money. Can I write that against my income?
But
No.
pre-construction doesn't need to. You don't need to put it pre-construction.
No, if you bought pre-construction and you sold it within a year,
Oh, okay.
How about the HST rebate? They have to pay it back.
HST rebate, if they that means they have to pay that back too.
Yeah, but then
HST have to be reimbursed as well, another $24,000 if it's over $450. So
Only for auto?
No, Toronto.
this is Canada.
Yeah, this is Canada.
It's federal, yeah.
And then I have one question.
Until Trump take over Canada.
What happened if you bought the property through the builder and you sold it with the property as an assignment sale? You're gonna pay full taxes? or-
Yes, full taxes.
Flipping.
Someone asked
Yep.
online, what if it's longer than a year? Will they be exempt?
As long as you owned it and closed it, yes, it'd be exempt. If it's your principal residence, then it depends what's going on. It wouldn't. No, it wouldn't be. It would then be considered a capital gain. You're going to be paying taxes on 50% of it.
Yep.
There's a gray line in SMSL which I'm not clear, that, you know, the CRA also has, you know, your deposit is subject to the HST as well too. I had a discussion with my accountant, it's like,
Yeah. Sometimes if you flip a property, and you have a $50,000 profit.
like if you sell something on assignment, of course, you know, your profit is subject to
Full tax.
the full tax plus, but then your deposit which you have paid to the builder is subject to an HST.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pranav, you're saying that on a new construction there, when you flip it, when you sign the property, not only do you not get the HST rebate back, but you also have to pay HST on the deposit you paid. So you got to talk to an accountant. That's an accountant question there. So.
Interesting. So we mentioned earlier that people are canceling their listings altogether. Sellers, if they're not getting the price they want, they're just going to cancel the listing. So do you guys have clients where that's happening? They're saying, let's cancel and relist in the spring, or are they making efforts to do price reductions and try to sell it? Are you seeing both?
I have motivated sellers doing dirty price reductions or improvements.
So you're pricing it to sell then.
Yeah.
So they're saying too, like if people are canceling in hopes of waiting to next year, it's a signal that they are okay financially, that they're not that desperate. So they're going to wait and hang on and try to get their price. And they're saying if you can get your price in a better market, why not cancel it and wait? Buyers are hoping to find the ones that are motivated, like Aaron's listings, who are priced well, not the ones that they're going to buy anyways, right? But it's a signal that you're financially okay. In Ontario, about 36% of listings were canceled in September, but what they don't say is how many of those were actually relisted at a different price in an effort to sell it, right? So we do that a lot on the Toronto board. You'll maybe do a hold offers, list low type thing, and do a cancel and relist afterwards. Just so you know, technically that is a contravention of MLS rules, but even though it's something that TREB sort of overlooks, so they don't enforce that rule a lot. But if you go to the Naughty Broker course, they will tell you that a cancel relist right away is in contravention of the MLS rules, but we know in reality most people do it, and we also recommend it most times as well. The only thing I would caution though with canceling is you don't necessarily want to just cancel your listing and not be able to get it back the next year. So you may want to suspend it and put it on hold for a certain amount of time and let it carry over to the next year. Or maybe you take an exclusive listing, so you take your MLS off, but you take an exclusive listing, so that ties you over. And what you would tell your client is, in the meantime, we'll continue marketing it and creating buzz. I'll talk to my database about it. But as a broker, we don't want you to lose that listing while you're waiting for that, because in that time, they could go talk to another agent, get a better marketing plan, and maybe you lose that listing. So that's one thing that the article won't tell you. And if your clients are reading this, they're going to be reading, oh, I didn't know I could cancel my agreement. So make sure you're talking to your clients so that you can sort of put it on hold or take an exclusive listing and tell them as well.
So let me just give a tale from the street.
Yes, please.
I'm getting cancellation. People come to me with cancellations, and we're questioning the agent, saying, why is it canceled? Well, the client wants to wait till the spring. So what was my question? Why are you canceling? I know your client, why are you canceling? Because the client wants to wait till the spring. Why would you do that? When you cancel a listing, all that money you put in your emotional bank, like that one, is
Emotional
gone.
bank.
Emotional bank is gone. What does that mean? You've taken the time for the listing. You've gone to listing presentation. You've got prepared for listing presentation. You've done all that research. You've done all that work. You've met them. You've overcome their objections. You got their signature. You got the signs. Our staff downstairs have set up all the stuff downstairs. All of a sudden the client says, oh, I changed my mind and wait till the spring. Okay, just cancel it. Right? This is a two-way contract, right? So as Kari was saying here, if somebody really truly wants to wait till the spring, then you need to, by all means, cancel that listing if that's what you want to do, but you want to replace it with an exclusive listing. There are agents, believe it or not, there are agents out there that scan the listings for expiries and for cancellations for the sole purpose of phoning your client and getting the listing with them.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to the little box where it says contact after yes or no. They're not looking at it.
So if you think that somebody's not going to knock on your client's door the day after you cancel it, you're in for a shock.
What about suspension?
Okay. Suspension is a legal live contract. They cannot contact anybody when you have a suspended listing. If you have an exclusive listing, as soon as you find out, hey, the guy listed on MLS, you phone the guy and say, take that off MLS, I have an exclusive listing. You cannot have two listings on one property.
Question, since Carly said, can you complain? and you find someone like that?
Yeah, if you have an exclusive listing and you see someone else
you got
posted on
better
MLS.
things to do than complain. No, you just don't do it.
No, she's saying if someone takes her listing.
If somebody takes the listing, that's what I'm telling you. Don't cancel it. You're not going to cancel
Don't
it.
cancel it.
Don't cancel it. Right?
Don't. Yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Terminated listing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going there because I'm thinking it's terminated, but the guy already, exclusive listing he has.
You cannot interfere with exclusive listing.
How I know, like,
Well, then he'll phone you. That's what I'm saying. So he doesn't know. So you can't be with the big axe and say, hey, you took my listing, I have it exclusive. How does he know it's exclusive? You got to phone him friendly and say, hey, by the way.
phone vendor, you mean?
No, the
listing.
agent.
Agent.
It's phone the
He
agent.
always say, yeah, he has it.
Well, he can show you it.
Sorry, which side are you on? You on the you on the listing side, or are you on the listing side, or are you one of those agents that I talked to?
Yeah. Doing the illegal
It's just an offline question.
Okay, so
Yeah.
an offline question. All right, so if somebody's approached you who has a canceled listing, and you've taken an MLS listing, and then some agent phones you up and says, I have an exclusive listing, he has to produce it. He can't just verbal and tell you I have a listing. He has to produce it for you. If he doesn't produce it for you, then you're okay.
But you also can't target a terminated listing,
Cannot terminate expired listing.
expired listing.
Cannot use MLS to identify business.
Yes.
In the U.S.,
I have
you
a question that I'll just ask live. Let's say a listing with another listing agent was canceled and we have a cancellation form. We sign a new listing agreement, but they've only suspended their listing on MLS. They didn't terminate it. What would be we go to the listing agent and ask them to terminate it properly?
You cannot interfere with that listing if it's only suspended.
It's canceled paperwork-wise. It's a mistake that
Has to be
they
on-
reported on
It
MLS.
has to be on unless it's suspended.
But as terminated.
terminated.
So who would make that request to make sure it's updated properly?
I don't know, if you got pushback, how would you get a copy of the termination they signed and send it to MLS?
Yes, okay. Got it. So it's possible that you may take over a canceled listing as well, and so just make sure you ask for a copy of the cancellation. You cannot direct them to cancel their listing, so be very careful in those conversations. You can answer questions, but you'll want to see a copy of the cancellation to make sure if MLS is updated as suspended incorrectly.
Now, I wrote down here also, sometimes some buyer will look at that property, they got their eye on the property, and all of a sudden it shows up as being canceled or terminated, but they were waiting for a price reduction and they were going to come in. So we've had 2 cases last month I'm aware of where the property was canceled, I believe it was canceled or terminated or suspended, it was canceled. And the listing, our buying agent got a hold of the listing agent and says, I see it's canceled, my clients are interested, will they take this money here? They said, I don't know, put it in writing, they put it in writing, they sold it twice. So another reason why, just don't be canceled, because there's still guys out there, there's still guys out watching it, right? Yeah. So, and this type of market, when you got, what's the month of inventory, 4 or 5 to 1? You're going to have these conversations quite often, so I want to make sure you're prepared.
Yeah, and your buyer, by the way, will love that because they think they got an off-market exclusive listing. So if they're looking for something in particular, scrub those terminated, suspended listings in that area they're looking for because they might be able to get a deal. I know we've done a couple, and the buyers love it.
Yeah.
They think they're so.
They don't
special.
get a deal or anything,
No,
but you can avoid competing with someone else, or it's off market, I guess, technically. But yeah, if your clients see a suspended listing, call the listing agent.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Some agents say to me, well, should I go to the seller direct or should I go to the agent?
Go to the listing agent.
We already said to you, 80% of all business is done through people that you already know. It's either your relative, your cousin, you're from you dealt in the past, or a friend. So if you sort of go scoot around them, then you might cut your nose off.
Yeah. Most of those agents are related to those suspended sellers.
and the agent, every time we've gone after a listing agent, honestly, been, I'll talk to my brother and I'll find out.
Plus, it's easier to deal with an agent than dealing with a seller directly in terms of paperwork and negotiations. It's just easier to deal agent to agent.
Yeah. And they already put it in their
It's not
emotional
affecting
bank,
your
so-
commission. It's fine.
Yeah.
Question, cancellation, if you have, you're canceling MLS listing, but what about the exclusive listing?
What do you mean?
You're canceling MLS listing, but you have exclusive listing at the same time.
Two separate agreements.
So that's 2 questions now.
Yeah, that's,
So exclusive listing, did you terminate the exclusive listing?
No.
So it's still valid?
Two separate.
so if you're canceling on MLS and somebody goes, list with somebody else, doesn't know that it's, you have exclusive
That's right. They
listing.
don't know, so you can't complain. So you have to just give them a copy of exclusive listing, and they'll have to take it down. Just some people get confused. They think MLS and exclusive can have both. They cannot.
Yeah. Cool. We mentioned earlier about the micro condo, and maybe some developers are paying attention a little bit. One of our most highest viewed TikTok videos is the one where I'm talking about the micro condo. What did I call it? Like a lichen, when it's like a living room and a kitchen combined. And TikTok went wild over that video, even though it wasn't an opinion, but they agreed that, yeah, condos are built super tiny and not built well, and people were going crazy on TikTok from that one video. But this particular developer, this was a building at 101 Spadina. So I know we've done some deals there as well. The location's really good downtown. Devron is a developer, and they paid attention to things like that. They actually did their own market research survey as well to see what type of condo people wanted to live in. And we know they started building micro condos because it became a little bit more affordable. So they wanted to target affordable housing, but then the offset of that was that investors also liked these micro-sized condos because it was cheaper for them. So they needed less down payment, they could invest more, they could buy more with it. So this combination of wanting to attract first-time buyers and help affordability was sort of paired with this investor mentality of wanting to get these small units. And then all of a sudden we built hundreds of thousands of tiny micro condos all over the city. Now everybody's complaining. You can see them all in the market. It's contributing towards the 11,000 condos on the market right now. Now people are saying, no, we like condos like everyone else in the world. Like, it's only Toronto that feels so negative on condos. The rest of the world is very happy in flats and apartments, but they need them to be a little bit more functional and bigger. A 2-bedroom needs to be a proper 2-bedroom with closets and windows and things like that. So Devron, the developer, took that in consideration, and they were able to do the financing around it, because that is a challenge when you're building a new building. You have to make sure that you can sell it to get your financing. So it's all a fine balancing act of math and numbers. But they purposely targeted this building at 101 Spadina to be 800 square feet with 2 bedrooms. So I know it sounds small, but they're well laid out. And so they're actually 2 proper bedrooms in that 800 square feet. And they're actually targeting people that had always dreamed about retiring in the city, that wanted to downsize, wanted to move to the city. It's been a dream. We even have clients like that too, that like to have a little condo, something in the city. But it makes sense. They can have their grandkids come and visit them. They can enjoy the amenities, but they're not living in this tiny little micro condo. So I know 101 Spadina did quite well. I know as a brokerage, we sold units there as well. Other developers are now watching it to say, okay, if they actually work and they sell them all and they just to make a little bit of profit, maybe they can follow suit as well. It's not an easy thing to do, like I said, because of the math. But people are paying attention. We know for sure TikTok, the people there were all in favor of bigger condos, more functional, well built as well. So it's interesting that some people are starting to pay attention to that. And maybe as we start new condo starts in the city, not that there's many options, space available, but maybe they're going to start to pay attention to that and build some bigger units. They're going to be more expensive for sure. The one that I'm talking about, they spent $1.7 million on a 2-bedroom condo. So it's still quite expensive in the city, but yeah, 800 square feet. So they're not cheap for sure, but they are targeting a certain demographic of people, end users that want to live there, retire there. It's not just a first-time home buyer or investor anymore. So we'll see what that happens.
It's funny, they're paying like over $2,000 a square foot.
Yeah, and this one in particular location was quite good. Like, it's one of the few true downtown locations available, I think, to build on.
I've got some folks here that do pre-construction a lot. Are they? I'm not going to give your name over the thing, but are they? Is that market happening or no?
It's paused.
Paused.
Paused or
Yeah.
passed? Paused.
Hopefully paused.
Hopefully paused.
So what are your clients saying? Like, forget it. Your clients or buyers are saying we don't need it, don't want it.
The math ain't
Or maybe
mathing.
buying resale instead of pre-con.
They're focusing on financing, how to do the closing.
Closing, I guess.
They're just trying to close those ones.
That's right.
I think a lot of pre-construction buyers are having a hard time closing, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Stressful.
That's why private mortgages are on the rise, because people need them to close.
Can you imagine those? We talked about platinum agents, right? Platinum and VIP agents. So here we had agents years ago. How do we get the VIP? How do we get to platinum and everything?
When I first started in 2017, it was like people were attacking me, like, we need VIP to this and this.
And what was happening is that you'd have VIP because you wanted to get your brother something or your mother something or yourself something there, where else, meanwhile, the VIP guys, they're selling like 30, 40, 50. They're selling entire floors, entire buildings. These guys are like, they're like 40 times now. At the time, you're all mad because, well, I can't get in there. I only got one. These guys got 40. That's fine. How do you feel today?
Now they're probably all hiding. They probably left the business.
Can you imagine selling an entire floor,
Imagine waiting to get paid on
400
that.
units, waiting to get paid, and you got to have 400 phone calls.
And your clients have to close. They have to give their like all these check boxes before you can even get paid.
And you told me I was going to make a profit.
Yeah, that's stressful.
I was talking to some agents who they would have like resale some properties and then pre-construction, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to close on the pre-construction, and they want to assign it and put it on MLS, but they can't. And I'm like, you got to sell the resale, like what you can put on MLS and sell today and close in 90 days and get the money. There's no way you are assigning your overpriced assignment, unfortunately. So yeah, it's crazy. We talked a little bit, I'll just quickly, I know Katelyn's excited to get talking about her training stuff, but rentals are up, but prices are down, according to this study. So I don't know if you're seeing that in the market as well. I certainly have. We've done a lot of price reductions on our leases. So even though more units are being leased, the total price went down. Except for in Saskatchewan, prices went up 17%. So maybe all of us are heading out to Saskatchewan and it's increasing their rent. But overall, everywhere else in Canada, other than that, all the rent prices went down. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that helps people afford to get into housing in Toronto. There's some good news for people that are downtown and maybe driving east or west, but apparently the Toronto's Gardiner Expressway construction is ahead of schedule. I don't know if anything.
How many years?
In Toronto, we're ahead of schedule by 4 months.
Okay.
It's probably the only thing in Toronto construction-wise that we're ahead of, but I don't know if you're from Toronto. Mose is not here. He would attest to it, but it's really bad on that east part. They've closed down most of the highway there, and there's really like 1 or 2 lanes. They've opened 2 already, but it's been bad lately, and I think they paid attention. They pumped some more labor into that. Are you going to counteract this now that it's still bad?
Faster to go from those houses up to the 401.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
Alex is saying like we have an agent that's in the east end, like Leslieville. It's easier to go north just to get to the 401 instead of trying to take DVP up. It's just crazy. So
I found
It's faster, yeah.
yeah, I believe it.
I found taking Avenue Road downtown's the fastest for me.
Yeah, I do Avenue or Bayview, depending on what side. But that's some good news. We're a little bit of a head schedule there. Do you have more real estate stuff before we get into?
Yeah, just 2 more things. Realtor.ca, we mentioned that Realtor.ca, they're going to go private. So this time, probably next year sometime, you'll start probably seeing some information about that and how you can maybe take advantage of it. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be, but we'll see. But at the same time, we ask everybody to Google yourself, right? You ever Google yourself and see what's going on? Has anybody gone to, anybody looked at your profile on Realtor.ca? I checked a couple here. I'm not going to show the name here, but so on Realtor.ca, if you go to Realtor.ca, if you have listings, your profile shows up. And if you don't have your photograph loaded up to Realtor.ca, all it shows is, I guess, a silhouette of a face or something. I don't know what it does, right? It doesn't show anything. But all you have to do is send them information, a membership, and get your photo on Realtor.ca as well. So anytime they look at your listings, they're a bit of a marketing piece, right? And some photos I'm looking at here, they're high school pictures, right? So they've been in the business for a while. So when I say you want to Google yourself, just see what other people are seeing. So. And
I'm sure you can use AI now to like update your photo. Could you not just be like, make this current to 2024? Yeah. I'm sure there's no excuse now. So.
AI is getting more powerful, huh?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You go.
That's good. I'll just remind you, last week we talked about the portal opening for your vacant home tax. So if you're in Toronto, you would have got a yellow envelope. It looks scary.
Last year they didn't do yellow. This year they brought it back.
Remember I said they improved a couple things. So I think putting it in a yellow envelope was one of them. They also put your notice in different languages too. So that was to help people understand what this was and what they had to do. So I got my notice in the mail the week that we announced it. So if you got ahead of your clients and told them before they got it in the mail, that was kind of fun because you got to be the first one to give them some news. But if you're telling them this week, then they would have already got their yellow thing. So remind them, hey, if you got that yellow envelope, it's important. You have to act on it. You've got to declare that you're either vacant or you're not vacant and you're living there. So that's open until April.
Send an email to your database.
Everybody remembers the tax? How much is it? How much is the tax?
Vacant home tax.
They increased it.
Yeah, they tripled it.
So just so you know, that if you live in 416, property has a assessed value of $1 million, and you don't fill out this form here, then you'll have a tax bill of $30,000 on top of your normal taxes.
For just not declaring the status.
So you have to say if it's vacant or not vacant. You have to declare.
If you're an investor with a vacant property because they don't want to rent it out to some guy who's not going to pay rent,
you're going to pay vacant home tax.
$30,000, man.
I'm pretty sure if you're renting it, it even asks for your tenant's contact information as well, so you can't really get around it. You have to put something in there.
Yeah.
The first go around, they asked for the tenant phone number and that,
Yep.
but the second time around, they did not. So because
Yeah.
it kind of hit privacy thing too.
I think tenants complain like, I don't want my phone number in
Yeah.
this portal. Like,
They wouldn't even know, but yeah.
fair enough.
Every year, you
Every year, yep. Yeah, every year starting November, that they extended the deadline to April. So before it used to be February, now you can do it through to April. But at no point, you might as well do it as soon as you get it. Otherwise, New Year comes and you're going to forget, right?
So our point is this: make sure your clients know,
Yep.
because that's what everybody was complaining about. Nobody told us. Well, hopefully we told them.
Yeah, it's an easy.
Well, some agents,
yeah.
clients thought that it was lying, and they were happy. Their agent said you have to fill it out whether it's vacant or not, and they were like, "Oh, I thought it was a scam or something." So sometimes you help them.
But 3% is charged at the end of the
It's added to your tax bill.
Yeah.
Well, every year you don't declare. Yeah.
I think is it 6 months? If it's vacant for 6 months, you pay
6
it?
months or more. Yeah. Cool. We had Rich Robbins last week. I don't know if anybody. Yeah, Susan was at Rich Robbins. And then maybe some people online. It's hard to summarize that 2 days. Some of the topics are the same, of course. There's a little bit of motivation, a little bit of schedule planning, a lot of AI as well, and then a lot of panels from other agents. Same kind of thing that you're used to hearing, but it's all good information. Susan, did you enjoy it as well? Or yeah, I think it
So
was
that's your
good.
first time, right, with seeing him at a live show? How was it? It's obviously motivational, but it was okay.
I learned to have a system in place.
Hopefully you learned that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's good timing with Katelyn and Rich. But it's a third-party person telling her. It's a man. No, that's good. I thought it was a good session. It's always good to see other realtors as well be there. It was a 2-day event, and he had a lot of people there. I'll tell you a little bit of tidbits that I wrote down. I have Ginny's notes as well. Most of her things were about the AI session, and it was about just embracing AI. I know we talk about it a lot, but it's meant to help your work be more efficient. It's not meant to make things more complicated. It's meant to help you streamline things. So there's a lot of good tools out there. It doesn't mean you need to go start doing videos in other languages and like go the full extreme, but just use little things in your day-to-day business to help you out. They also talked a lot the second day about building a business that fully supports the life that you want rather than the life that you think you need, managing your priorities and deciding what matters most to you and aligning to those tasks. So you might not need that fancy car or fancy house right now, or maybe you do need it, but it's aligning your business goals to the things that you want, right? A job is a paycheck to get paid versus a career is a deep emotional investment in the advancement through money and promotions. When your advance stops, you look for gratification elsewhere. So they talked a little bit about prioritizing your life as well. These are just random notes that I had made. We used to call things pillars. So when you think about the pillars of your business, where you're going to get business from, it could be your database is usually number one. But we'll talk about open house being a pillar, social media. They started changing the word to buckets, which I kind of liked because I envisioned like these buckets and that you're filling up these buckets with like tasks and goals as opposed to a pillar. So think about that in your business. Like what are your top 3 buckets of where you're going to get business and how do you align your goals to that? Even like there was a girl talking about open houses, and I thought this was interesting. So open houses was one of her buckets. She had earned 500,000 GCI and just doing 15 open houses a year. So that was her goal. She wasn't going to do an open house every single weekend, but she was going to choose 15 open houses, and she was very selective about those open houses. So it wasn't like she was doing an open house for every single listing. She actually took a look and said, is this my niche audience? So she made sure that that open house matched the niche. This is what Katelyn talks about in her systems. Will you be excited to work with this lead 1, 2, 3 years from now? So again, is this someone that you like to work with that you want to promote through open house? Is it a house in your area? Does it match your niche? And that was interesting because it wasn't like she was doing open houses for everything. It wasn't doing the condo that didn't match her need or something like that. She would have her team members do those ones, but 15 she would select and prioritize because they fit that sort of mold of what she was looking to do. And her advice was to be better than an app. So we know we already have House Sigma, we have all these stats, but the goal at an open house is to be better than the app. So provide more information than what those apps can provide. And then I think Katelyn is doing her final systems this week. Is it the last one, number 6?
We got 2 systems this week. Am I going right in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are on week 6 finally, the last week. Are any of you guys in the room in the 6-week course? Maybe not? Yeah. Okay, there's been a lot of people actually been coming. Last week we had a lower number of people, just because I think a bunch of people went to Richard Robbins. But over the last weeks we've been doing a lot. So we did lead generation, marketing systems, how to use a CRM platform and come up with like a stay in touch plan for all your clients. We talked all about the buyer systems, so what to do when you get a buyer client, what to do when you get called for a listing appointment. Last week we talked all about what to do when you get hired for that listing, so what the preparation looks like, what the marketing looks like, open houses. We talked a lot about when you're a listing agent. And then this week you're going to be doing 2 systems. We're going to talk about communication. So I'm just going to talk about like all the different methods to communicate with clients and how to communicate with clients the way that they want to be communicated with, not necessarily the way that we want to. So we'll talk about like social media DMs and all those different ways that we communicate with people, as well as like your response time standards, the way you pick up your phone, like very like basic stuff, but are really important stuff as well. And then the final system, we're going to talk about actually how to have a proper schedule. So it's a schedule optimization. So I'll be going over what maybe I know like as agents, it's really hard to come up with a daily schedule because it's just really impossible to have that. But I'll at least talk about what types of things you should be doing in your day and even a weekly schedule. So if you're not a person that has like the same schedule every day, figuring out what you can do on a weekly schedule. But then I'm also going to remind you to go back to all those systems that we talked about, figure out what tasks you should be doing and what tasks you should be outsourcing. So we'll talk about how to figure out how we can optimize your time to make more money by hiring, for example, the sign company to go put your sold rider up. Maybe we shouldn't be spending 2 hours a day driving a lockbox to the house. We should be figuring out easier ways so that we can stay in the office and try to do more marketing and stuff versus spending our time on these tasks that don't actually make you more money. So I'm going to try to help you figure out what types of tasks you guys should stop doing and which ones you should continue to do, the ones that are actually making you money. So we're going to talk a lot about like delegation and how to optimize your time, even things such as cleaning your house. So if we're going to calculate what your hourly rate is, and if it's $100 an hour and you pay a cleaner for your home $25 an hour, should we be cleaning our houses? And like stuff like that. So we're going to talk about how to maybe be more efficient in your home life as well to allow you to make more money in real estate. So it's going to be a pretty informative one, but at the end of it, we're going to be done. And hopefully by the end of this entire thing, I know some people have been sending me their manuals, but the whole point of the systems course was to create an actual process manual so that if you were to one day hand your business over to, say, an admin or a buyer's agent, or maybe you're trying to grow your team, hopefully you've got a nice process manual by the end of this that you can literally work off of and then pass it on to someone else. So if that's where you're at in your business, where you're ready to grow, process manuals and systems like Susan said she learned at Richard Robbins, systems is how you're going to get to that next level. So we're going to wrap it all up with how to come up with that process manual for your business.
Awesome.
And that's it.
One of the little nuggets that Katelyn talks about there was kind of a cute one there that I mentioned from agents from time to time. Has anybody here had a listing up, listing on a cottage or downtown or something like that?
You live in the burbs.
And you live in the burbs and you want to get a lockbox on it. So a lot of people will spend the day, put a lockbox on it. And what Katelyn would do is, or suggests, is you order a lockbox from Amazon, have Amazon deliver it direct to the house, and have your client stick it on the door.
Yeah, I've never had a client upset at sending a lockbox to their house. So there's little tasks like that we should not be doing. Because it literally, even just going downtown, it's 2 hours just to do that one task when you can literally just Amazon it, pay $20. It's actually cheaper to get an Amazon lockbox than the branded ones we give you guys. And then you can leave it there and do, like,
I will say
don't go back.
not as good quality. Don't use them in the winter, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just a simple,
How to save time.
Simple little idea like that.
Yeah.
My wife's going to be disappointed then. These are the only trips I take wrong with me.
Or you can just hire your wife, give her some money, and she can do it for you. But you can hire like brand new agents too. Like there's agents out there that we used to pay $20 for an agent to go deliver a lockbox. Yeah, hire an Uber driver. Like there's so many things to do.
Same the sold, like Katelyn mentioned here, but the same as the sold sign. The sign installers for $20 will put the sold sign on your property, or you can go there and drive for 2 hours and.
No. Or we even saved extra time where we'll get the driver or the sign guy to bring the sold rider when he installs the sign, have your clients put it in the closet. When the house sells, your clients can put it up, and a lot of the time they're happy to put it up. Yeah. So there's little tasks that we shouldn't be doing.
They'll take a picture of themselves.
They'll take a picture with the family and send it to you. It's great.
Yeah.
with the kids putting it up. So
Yeah.
there's very minor tasks that you guys are probably doing that you shouldn't be doing.
That you can focus more on getting more business.
Yeah. Same with designing all of like your guides and all that stuff. Like go on Etsy, spend $50 and have one designed for you. Like there's lots of stuff we don't need to be spending time on.
Then you gotta overcome that. Well, what did you do for me?
I paid someone to do it. I'm so busy.
Sold your house.
I sold your house. No, I don't think I've ever had anyone angry about a lockbox delivery. No one's. That'd be weird if they were mad about that. That's like the last thing we should be doing.
Sure. Cool. You have more stuff? I have threatening stuff. Oh.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I always leave the threatening stuff for the end.
Sorry, that last session's Wednesday at 10:30.
I got a call last week, and Nelson, we got one too for multi-representation. Everybody knows multi-representation forms that are required. Anybody repeat to me what if you have multi-representation, you represent the buyer and the seller, what forms are required? No, we must.
You're just gonna text Carly. Text Carly in a panic. I'm in multiple rep. What do I do?
I've got the answer. Phone Nelson.
Yeah.
Send a referral to Remembrance.
So you got your REMAC, you got your RICO information guide, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you've got which will explain multi-representation. And then you've got your consent. So the buyer will consent to multi-representation, or the seller will consent to multi-representation. So you got another form there, each of them sign. Then you got your Form 801 that describes what the relationship is, and that also says multi-representation. Was there a third one?
And then you've got your privacy and your offer, all your regular
but
stuff.
as far so basically, so it's the two forms that are extra now. So
Now, all these documents come in the listing package,
Yeah.
listing package?
Not multiple rep forms. So the girls are pretty good
at it.
knowing like, hey, it's Eli and this person. It's multiple rep, or it's you and they're both ends. But I would just be super clear with them so that it's obvious. Just be like, hey, by the way, this is multiple rep. Include the multiple rep forms because we don't include those as standard, just not to confuse you. Yeah. There's a lot of forms already. So.
No.
But the girls are generally pretty good at recognizing if it's multiple rep, but it doesn't hurt to let them know as well. Yeah. The forms are going to change December 1st. I'm not going to go through it. I don't know if you had planned to. I'm not going to yet.
Go through it.
But they are changing December 1st. I'm going to I may not tell you how they've changed except for update our own records, but if something really like change that we need to know, I'll let you know. No, all ORIA forms are changing again. As Tressa is entering into phase 3, actually this form change comes from phase 2, but I bet there's going to be even more. So
This is why we prefer the girls to write the offers, because the forms change so much.
Even the listing forms are changing.
listing forms are changing because they're trying to have one MLS for all of Ontario. So they're adding stuff on the data sheets and on the MLS forms that North Bay would put in, or Sudbury put in, or Thunder Bay.
which is not a bad thing. It's good to all be consistent and have the same fields and stuff. FinTrack, I think I mentioned it last week. I'm going to mention it again. I had another broker that actually went through a FinTrack audit. We haven't been through one in 5 years, but we do an internal audit every year. They actually went through a full FinTrack audit, and there are some learnings that are a little bit, not scary, but I want to let you guys know, and we'll send out some communication. But the audit was quite brutal. They went through almost every single FinTrack form with a fine-tooth comb to make sure name was filled out, that 10-point checklist was filled out, proper address, proper dates, proper signatures. They were on the broker to make sure they had proper training and policies and procedures. Any report that if you did score 10 or above, that was reported to FinTrack. So everything that they could have gone through, they did. Some findings too was that if you buy or sell your own property, I get this question a lot, do I have to do FinTrack on myself? And actually you have to get somebody else to FinTrack you. So you cannot FinTrack yourself because you can't identify as yourself as a terrorist or laundering money. So get a colleague to do your FinTrack for you. And that was something kind of new that we didn't realize. I usually told agents to do it themselves, thinking that you could, but that was actually incorrect. It makes sense not to. So you'd have a third party do that. Yeah, I'll probably send out a little note with some FinTrack. Please make sure you're doing FinTrack. That is the main things that you're doing FinTrack for all your clients as well. Are you going to jump in there? Or no?
Well, we were trying to get ready to do the transaction report, right?
That's my next thing, yes.
Okay.
Fulton.
No, keep
That's the
going.
one that pays us, right?
That's the one that
It's
gets
the
you paid.
summary.
This
We
one.
do those ones, don't worry.
Yes, please do these. You will notice the girls are not processing your deals until they have them. That's because we need to know sort of what your commissions are and if you're doing anything fancy. But for some reason, things are a little bit more complex than they used to. People have special things or this deal or this deal. It's not as clear as it used to be. So Heather is now requesting your transaction form if we don't have it on file, because we want a sure way to make sure that we know we're processing the right information. And we do need it right away as well when you do the deal.
And the other part on the transaction report, so you're telling us, okay, I sold this property and here's the commission and this guy wants the cash back, or I'm charging this guy double or whatever it might be, or I want money back for my staging, you can put all that in the transaction report. But also there's a checklist here for the seller and the buyer checklist. Do you have your FinTrack? Do you have do you have all the different forms? So you almost check that off just sort of just to remind yourself, well, I need this form, this one. That's the purpose of this. So as twofold, right? One is for you to check your paperwork, and one is to tell us what to do with the commissions and that.
Yeah. Fun. It's my
Help
favorite
makes
part.
our job easier.
Yeah, fair. So anyone have any listings that you want to talk about, or tales from the street, or anything that you want to share?
Nobody
Yeah.
sell my Richmond Hill property.
Richmond Hill.
Up to 530 and 630 plus square feet and a parking locker completely updated near Young Street.
That sounds good for 530. It's on MLS. Good.
She's smiling.
500 doesn't include hydro, but parking locker it has the list.
Anything else for you?
Only hydro is
Okay.
extra.
So we have no holidays next week as usual. So have a good week. We're here if you need anything, and hopefully the market will.
See you
pick up.
Wednesday.
We'll see you on Wednesday at 10:30. Buy some stocks.
What's that Trump media stock?
Media.
Oh, great.
How's Trump media stock doing?
Yeah, good check. What's up? 3% today.
It's up 3%. I have no idea what it is. So does that money go straight to his pocket?
It's up 30% of the last month.
What's going on, Rand? What do you think for December? Half a point?
I think it's half a point.
Another half in December.
The bond yields has gone up.
So did the
after
fixed rates
Trump
went
came
up last week?
That's what they're saying. They're saying that the fixed term mortgages went.
Not significantly, but it did go up.
I got a whole list of stuff which has gone up since Trump is in power.
Yeah.
Bond
In
yields.
stock, yeah.
That stock market's nuts. I mean, it's breaking records right now. It's too scary. I think everybody should cash out.
Well, didn't
And get Bitcoin.
get back. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close it off here. We can still chat in person. But have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you soon.